Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Whatchu Spinnin. This is episode 29. We are officially 1 week away from the next themed episode of the show, which is going to be our Outkast episode, which I am so fucking stoked for. Jacob, how are you doing, man? I know you've been a little under the weather. You doing okay today?
I'm all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing much better. I was
Yeah.
pretty sick most of the week, but right now it's just congestion and a cough, but I'm feeling good, feeling a lot better. So,
Hell yeah.
Good, good.
Good. And Matt, it's been a while since you and I chatted. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Nothing new over here. Just another day in the life. But things are good. Things are good.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Uh, we're gonna go ahead and kick episode 29 off talking about my album, which was Further Adventures of Lord Quas by Quasimoto.
Don't you blink. You look straight back at me. Damn it, man! This toilet don't belong to just you! Yeah, man. On the wall.
Quasimoto, all around you like BDs. Only the strong survive, so eat your Wheaties. Some niggas going to hell, I'm on some Dave Chappelle. Dropping shit, you gotta sneak in the bathroom, like we on Lavelle.
Record.
Your honey dumb doing his Zambushi for everybody.
Y'all brothers done if we coming through with heavy shotties.
Super stoked to bring this artist up again on the cast. I know it's kind of weird, I brought up Damn a little bit ago, revisited Kendrick Lamar, but I have a lot of duplicate albums, so that's gonna happen. I'm gonna slowly pepper in my duplicates over the little bit of time, or over the episodes. But released in 2005, as I said, super unique album. One of my personal favorites. I actually own two different medias of it. I own the vinyl and the cassette for it. But what do y'all have to say about it?
For me, it was my first introduction to Madlib and Quasimoto and that whole genre, in a sense. Very experimental, It's his alter ego. It was a fun album from start to finish for me. When you brought up the album cover, I found out some more stuff about the album cover. There's kind of a throwback to Frank Zappa on the album cover from his album Freak Out. You look on the album cover, there's somebody saying Freak Out in the corner there. Yep. Thought that was pretty clever. That's kind of a throwback to Frank Zappa. And I just like the way he rhymes, and he's just kind of just making fun of gangster rap and making fun of the things that people rap about nowadays. Or not nowadays, but maybe in general. And it's just a fun listen, he's got the high-pitched use on his alter ego, Lord Quas, and it was just fun all around. I liked it.
yeah, Madlib, man, the beat conductor, dude.
For real.
Madlib is a fucking genius, dude. I brought this up earlier, but I was looking into, because I had more free time this week, and I was listening to some of his interviews that he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is like an acronym for Mind Altering Demented Lessons in Beats.
Damn.
Which is really, really fucking cool. And he seems like a really chill dude and like real down to earth. But yeah, this is it's one of his alter egos, Quasimoto, that this came out like right after Mad Villain. And at that time he was like very experimenting with his beats and like going out of the box. And he was very different from other producers. Like if you want to think about it, like Premier, like all those 2000s, Kanye you could throw in there, like all these like old school like hip hop DJs, and he was really kind of out there. And this is very experimental for what he was doing at that time too.
Very much so. And you bring up an excellent point with like the timeline of it, with it coming out right after Mad Villainy. Because Mad Villainy was such an iconic album, as we've discussed on the show to extent, but also for Madlib, that's like the iconic album for both Doom and Madlib, from a rapping standpoint and a production standpoint. And also to shout it out, to also tie it in further than Madlib being on it, there is a Quasimoto feature on there. There's 2 Quasimoto features on that album. And you bring up an excellent point. He did that, and then a year later was doing Further Adventures of Lord Quas. He was that was also around the time he started doing Yesterday's New Quintet, which is like his more jazz oriented kind of alter ego, because Madlib's got a shit ton of alter egos, and that's one of them is Yesterday's New Quintet. And so you can hear the influences of Madvillain outside of the Madvillain feature on it, and the Yesterday's New Quintet as to how experimental this album comes to be toward the end of it.
Yeah. And then another cool thing too, that he has a Doom feature on this, and then also MED feature on this, which
exactly,
it's really cool that he ended up making another full album with MED, like in the recent years, like in 2014, I want to say, which is also fucking fantastic album.
That's one of my favorite Madlib projects is that Med album.
I wanna bring that album up, but yeah, it's really crazy that all these beats. It's very experimental. It's him really going out of the box. One of the first ones that comes to me is Greenery. Just because that beat in itself, the first like opening beat is really fucking good. And then, excuse me, but he always, a lot of producers do this, but I feel like Madlib a lot, they'll like pepper in a beat here and there. Like, especially on that song, the first beat is really good. And then at the end of the song, like the last 20 seconds, 15 seconds, he throws in a beat that it sounds, I think of it just like Curtis Mayfield. Like it's very like soulful, very funky, that he brings that up. And it's just like peppered in, just like, hey, I can put this beat in here, but it's just 15 seconds, just a little taste, like. That for other producers, that'd be a whole song. But he was like, no, I'm just going to put it in, just season it a little bit, just, And if he would have made that a song, it would have been so fucking badass. But he does that a lot. He'll pepper in like beats here and there. He does that in a couple other songs. Like he'll add in a second beat on the last like 5 seconds of it, just because he can, It's like a little flex that he does. But
another kind of thing that I dig about damn near any, I feel like an alter ego, when it's a well-renowned artist, such as Madlib, any album that alter ego puts out is really a concept album, because you have to put yourself in the mentality of that character. It's like when we listened, when we covered Vaudeville Villain by Victor Vaughn, and, we compared that to the Madvillain thing off of Madvillainy, and it's same but different in that sense, but Quasimoto to Madlib is very different, so you have to kind of put yourself, so that's why I consider all 3 of these albums he did to be concept albums. And the interesting thing I find with this one is that it's like the first 6 to 8 tracks ish, it's telling a story. It's got the bully shit like tie you up to the back of my car, and then Greenery with like the smoke shop little skit that's kind of interpolated in with the song. And then after that is really when you see Madlib start to really just go off with the beats. Like there's a hell of a lot more guitar samples in it in that second half, just going all over the place. And it really speaks to how well-rounded of an artist he is, but also to just like how interesting this album is, because it catches your ear with the first track, and then after that, you get like a good sampling of something like that, and then it expands off of it and goes in various places.
Yeah, that song too, especially Main Girl, same thing.
Yeah.
And the ending beat of it is like a whole nother song that he could have made for a song itself. Like whenever producers do that, like it's cool, but it's also like, why are you doing that? Like, you could have just made this another song,
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these songs are really cool. The MED song is fucking really good. I like that Quas. He always does that he has like a low pitch and then a high pitch, and then it sounds like it's two people just rapping, but it's just one person, and
it's
real cool.
And I love that too. And the thing that really makes me love it even more is that it's Madlib's actual voice and Quasimoto, which is also just him. Like it's like
you
what
said,
the fuck?
they're like going back and forth with each other. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Hey, where's Quasi? And then they do like Quasimoto's girlfriend in there at one point. Like, it's just so silly, but it's like so well executed to where it's actually fucking awesome, in my opinion, at least. Like I'm a huge Quasimoto fan, and we were talking about the album cover just a couple seconds ago, and I love when multiple versions of an album have different covers. Like I said earlier, I own the vinyl of this and the cassette tape, and I honestly forgot I owned the cassette until I was helping my grandma clean out her house, and she like held it up. She's like, "What is this? Do you want this?" And I was like, "Oh, holy fuck! Yes, I need that." I fucking forgot I had that. It was the only cassette I've ever bought, and because I couldn't find one of those like Radio Shack jacks that was like the auxiliary cord into a cassette tape.
Oh yeah.
And I was getting into Quas and Doom and everything, and I found that tape for like $9 at House of Records or some shit. And now it sits on my desk at work. And as y'all can see, I'll put the cover up on over the screen. But like there's Quas right there, and he's got a cigarette in his mouth, but it's not lit. On the cassette version, it's just that panel of Quas leaning out the window, but the cigarette's being smoked, and it's dark, so it's all like the building's all blue looking, and there's smoke billowing out. It's fucking tight. And then the instrumental version that you can also find on Wax is a view from the inside of the house looking out.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it's like it's a night view of the room that he's in, and it's just the back of Quas smoking that cigarette, and then it's just like all dark in the room and outside.
And then it's cool also looking at it now too. You can see donuts on one side of the windows, and then another one you see the car of the unseen. I don't know if she caught that. Also really cool. But there's actually recently, within the last couple, I think last year or 2 years ago, they made another alternate cover to this album, which I sent you guys a picture of. It's like the Sgt. Pepper's, but it's all just like photos of like Madlib and other like rappers. There's like I was just looking at, there's Mr. T is in there for some reason.
That's really cool.
Mr. T, Tupac, Big T. De La Soul, like there's like everyone, and it's really cool, really fucking badass.
No, it's legit, and that's just something cool, to look at an album that's been released on multiple formats, and kind of see something like that. And also the instrumental cover of the album. This will perk your ear, Jacob. Go look at the instrumental cover for this album, and then go look at the cover of Bandana by Madlib and Freddie Gibbs.
I was gonna bring that up.
It's the same.
I was gonna bring that up. I didn't know if that was factual, but I have seen that cover of Bandana and how it's like kind of the same like universe.
Yeah,
like
they're
burning buildings and then like everything.
Yeah, the only thing different is that I don't think in the instrumental cover you can see the back of the Hollywood sign. But yeah, the Bandana cover, it's Quasimoto on a zebra with like burning buildings, and you can see that in the instrumental one.
Yep. That's fucking dope.
But Matt, to speak on, your point that you brought up about the rhymes, is it just me, or when I listen to Players of the Game, that fucking Players of the Game just gets stuck in my head for hours?
Yeah, it does. Yes.
Yeah,
that fucking song. That song, I really like. Fatbacks.
Yes.
Just the lyrics on Fatbacks. God. Yeah, he's an honest man. Madlib's an honest man with that song.
He's an honest man. Yeah. But also like I remember because last week when we met up, I had given Matt a ride to your place, and you know, he mentioned to me, he's like, I haven't heard Quasimoto, and I was like, all right, well, I'll put the album on when we drive home, and I remember we're like almost to Matt's house, and Don't Blink came on, and that line about like, Quasimoto, all around you like beaties, only the strong survive, so eat your Wheaties. And like every time I hear it, I fucking laugh out loud, and Matt did too at that time, and I was like, all right, bet, like Matt's gonna really fucking dig this. Like
Yeah, no, Quas is great. Quas is, all his 3 albums that he did is really fucking good, and it's yeah.
Oh yeah.
If Matt would have been around for yesterday, that would have been fucking dope.
Honestly, with what we've been talking about, it might, like, he might just have to be forced to listen to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
100%.
Little wink wink inside baseball. But let's go ahead and do top 3s. I'll kick us off. I have 2 honorable mentions off this album: Bartender Say and Players of the Game. As I just mentioned, that Players of the Game gets stuck in my head. Number 3, I'm a huge Doom fan, so I had to go with Closer. Number 2 is Greenery, just because that thumpy bass line in it, and then I mentioned the Smoke Shop skit is unreal. And the number 1 is Don't Blink, which I also just mentioned. Those are my top 3.
Nice, very cool. I'll go next. Honorable mention, I like Bully Shit because of the Thriller sample with Vincent Price's laugh in there. It's a great song. Number 3, Shroom Music. Number 2, Greenery. It's a great lyric song altogether. And then my top song was Hydrant Game. I really like that. That had me coming back to it over and over. Great pick.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you, man.
Greenery is in my top 3 just because that ending, dude. That ending song, whatever it is, it's definitely Curtis Mayfield.
Is that the one that goes? Beow, beow, beow?
No, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to listen back to it because I'm trying to think of what you're talking about.
Listen back to it. If you just hear the last like 15 seconds, it sounds like exactly like Curtis Mayfield, like that one album, the music or the movie soundtrack that he did that one time.
Oh, okay.
Just like Superfly, just like that.
Okay.
Insane. But yeah, Greenery, Bus Ride, because the beats on that are also like classic Madlib. And then Mr. Two-Faced. Mr. Two-Faced was also really good.
Real quick before we move on, speaking of Bus Ride, I liked the "Hey, Mister, you wanna," like that old man, and then the next, like, it cuts in, and then it's like Quas going like, "Hey, mind showing a little bit of Christian kindness to me? I can sure use a taste." Like,
yeah,
I love that shit. Like,
dude,
that's that continuation of the characters. Like, there's so many different things and different characters going on in this that's what really makes me appreciate this album. Obviously, I love Yes or Whatever. That's why I brought it up first. But this is a strong second for me, just because it's a full Quas album, less than a compilation of like unreleased shit. Yeah. But yeah, that continuation of the story and the characters is really killer to me. I just had to get that last bit in. But let's go ahead and move on. That was The Further Adventures of Lord Quas by Quasimoto, my pick for this week. Let's go ahead and introduce Jacob's pick. What do you got for us, mate?
Yeah, so this week I was spinning some Kokoroko. It's their self-titled debut EP. It's not really an album. It's really short. It's only 4 tracks. That's the back. But yeah, 4 tracks. It's like 25 minutes long. It's real short, but it's some really powerful 25 minutes. Definitely one of my more favorite groups to have come out. It came out in 2019. And yeah, my this was actually a birthday present from my sister and my brother-in-law. Shout out. And yeah, they kind of put me onto this, and it's something that I'll listen to whenever I can if it comes on, just because it puts me in like a really happy, really good mood. But yeah, Kokoroko. What are y'all guys' thoughts on it?
For being a 4-track album, under a half hour, it was amazing. I was bumping it at work because it was accessible in that fashion, and people were just like, "Oh, what's this?" I'm like, "Kokoroko, baby."
Yeah.
You don't know? You don't know?
Right.
But it was fun. It's an 8-piece band, which is amazing. So there's a lot of musicians in the band, and it's led by a female artist, which is great. They're from London. Apparently, they're based in London. I was a fan. It's very accessible. It's got the jazz Afrobeat kind of going on with it, and it just makes you move. Anytime I hear a song or music that makes me move a little bit, I feel like it has an impact on my brain or my soul, and I'm instantly a fan of any music like that. So this is a great pick.
Hell yeah! I didn't know it was 8 people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's unreal. Matt, you kind of said it perfectly right there. For only being a 4-track album or EP, it goes in. Like there's like literally from the start, Adwa, like that bass line, and then that sax player is making that saxophone scream like it's being tortured in the 8th layer of hell. I thought that shit was so rad. I had to listen to that song like 3 times in a row. I was like, I just want to hear that saxophone, dude.
Dude, it's so saxy, dude. It's saxy. The sax is so fucking good. I was like doing some like research on these guys, as I always do. Their name Kokoroko, it means be strong, and it comes from Urboho, and it's a Nigerian tribe, and it's also like a language, which is really cool. They have like a lot of West African influence, like specifically West African Pentecostal churches, and also a lot of jazz influence. So that's kind of where the jazz Afrobeat comes in. Adwa, the first song that we were just talking about, it's tied to Ethiopian town that's also named Adwa, which is really cool. But yeah, man, 8 people on this album. It's insane how good they are. And yeah, when you hear it, it just kind of makes you want to like move, like in some way you kind of want to like do something. Like it makes me feel really productive. I feel like, I don't know, it's strange.
Very much so. How did you stumble upon these guys, Jake?
My sister and brother-in-law, they gave this to me as a birthday present last year. And it was at the time, I think, that it was snowing. So I wasn't really doing a whole lot. So I was just like listening to music, and they gifted me this, and I was like, all right, I'll play this. I'll see what it is. I didn't look anything up. I was like, this is what I have in front of me. I'm just going to listen to it and take it in. And man, it was fantastic. I fell in love with them ever since. Like I remember it was snowing. I was just like staring outside my window, just like looking at the snow, like just living in the moment. I don't know. But yeah, it's fantastic how they're so like talented with their instruments and how they do it. Today, I really like that song. That's probably in my top 3. There's only 4 tracks, so it's like it's gonna be in your top 3 anyways. But yeah, it's like such an angelic guitar. Like it's such a calming song, because you just hear that bass come in at first, like dun dun, and then that guitar, and it's like very smooth and subtle. The leading bass, the soft percussions on it. And then that like soothing vocals that comes in at the end too, like the female vocalist on it. But yeah, I could keep going on and on, man. I love this EP. I love this group. They just dropped the album Could We Be More in August.
Okay.
It's really good, so definitely check it out.
A similar sound to this album, or is it different? Or
Yeah, similar sound to this album,
Okay.
and it's real cool. They
X probably, hopefully.
yeah they were named in 2020 Urban Music, what is it? Urban Music Awards Best Group. And they even did some shows in the UK, like for the BBC network and stuff, which is really cool. But
Hell yeah. It's and to compare it to another album that you've brought up that this kind of reminded me of, just we were just talking about like the musicianship behind these people, and how just stupid talented they are. It brought me back to when you brought up Kikagaku Moyo, and I was like, these are like two bands that like I had never heard of, and then you listen to them and it's like, holy shit, these guys are fucking amazing. And it's like how it's like one of those things that it's, like Matt and you and I have this conversation about Floater all the time. It's like glad it's like kind of sucks that not more people know about them, but it's also kind of great because it makes us appreciate them more.
Sure.
And that was like the first thought I had when I listened to this the first time. I was like, oh shit, these guys are like niche, like flash in the pan kind of like super small followings of these bands, but they're fucking phenomenal. Like, so I'm super glad that you brought this up.
Yeah. It's crazy how like especially if we don't like go out and look for it, I wouldn't have found out of these guys like if they would have brought to my attention. Right. Like I'm glad that I did because it's I'll listen to it if I'm like feeling down or if I'm just like in the mood just to listen to something nice. This is really accessible to anyone. If you hear it, like you could like it. And it's great that it's so short too because it's so condensed that all the songs on it are good. Like there is no room for error on this like small track list. So. Same thing with Abusi Junction. That song, it was crazy how popular it got. I think on YouTube it like initially got like 20 million views or something. Like
I was reading about that. Yeah, that's insane.
Super quick.
Yeah.
And then I checked on it today and it's at like 60 million. Like it's fucking crazy.
It's not a video, right? It's just a song. Like
it's like a video, but it's just like a still photo, and like it's just the music behind it. Like it's like the weirdest thing.
To get that many views, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But a lot more people have been like being like listening to these people, and I mean, they deserve it. Like it's something that like artists that are smaller, you like you said, you like that you listen to them, and not everyone else does. But a part of you wants them to succeed and want them to get big because they deserve it. Like so.
Yeah, I agree. And to speak about speaking of Abusi Junction, that track when it started and like listening to it all the way through kind of threw me off at first, like because the rest of it, you did say it like makes you want to be productive because it's like there's a lot going on in those first three tracks, and then it just mellows out on the final track of the four, and I was like, okay, like I kind of like this little mellow vibe. Like it's got a mellow vibe throughout, but I was like, oh, this is like really nice and chill,
Yeah, and then another song also, Uman. That's cool because it kind of feels like a celebration.
And there's a vocal in there. I feel like they're saying that lyric.
Yeah, they're saying that. They're saying like the title track. It's kind of like a celebration. I was reading up on like the backstory of it, and it's like a celebration for like because the artist, like the main artist. She's a woman, and she kind of explained this song being like a celebration for specifically like black women, which is really cool that she's like kind of speaking that, especially for like African like heritage, especially for black women, because she felt that it was like necessary to bring it up, especially because at this time she was talking a lot with her mother apparently, And that's a lot where her sound, like her songwriting came too, like with her mom and stuff. But yeah, it's one of my favorite EPs for sure. The album cover too, and like even the artwork on it is really neat. Like I could just look at it, just stare at it. Like there's like butterflies and flowers and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really neat. Top 3 tracks, probably really easy because there's 4.
It's the same as when we did Godspeed You Black Emperor, dude. It's like you're not trying to discredit the 4th track, but top 3 is top 3. It's the rules of the game.
Yep.
Yeah. If I had to go top 3, I'm doing for sure my favorite is Tide. Just because it's so subtle and it's so good. I could listen to that and fall asleep to it. And yeah, I love that song. Adwa and then Abusey Junction. But Uman is also really fucking good. So
Yeah, I'll go with honorable mention would be the last track, Abusey Junction, and then 3 Uman, 2 Adwa, and then Tide for my top track.
Yeah. And I'm going to go basically the same as Jake, I think just in different order. Uman is my honorable mention, Abusey Junction number 3, Uman number 2, and then Adwa number 1. I fell in love with that screaming saxophone the first time I heard it. Because just a little inside baseball on that. To get that sound, you have to play the fucking saxophone incorrectly. Like you have to fuck up. And so the fact that he's just like purposely, or whoever's like purposely doing that is fucking genius. Like that's so dope.
An instrument already, and now they're just messing around with it, which is
exactly
fun. Yeah.
And then it'll like go from that scream into like nice little licks on it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's actually pretty baller. But goddamn, dude, I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, great pick. Thank you.
Thank you guys for liking it.
Absolutely. That was the self-titled Kokoroko EP, which was Jake's pick for this week. Let's dive into Matt's.
Yes, let's do it.
What do you got for us, Mike?
We're going back to 1980. I said 1979 when I introduced it last week. That is incorrect. It came out in 1980, recorded in 79. Bauhaus, In the Flat Field. The inappropriate album cover that we've been all waiting for. There.
In a crucifixation, ecstasy, lying cross-checked in agony. Stigmata bleed continuously, holding hands and feeling weak for me. Stigmata, oh, you saw red sight. Stigmata in your splintered light.
Yeah.
There's the inner sleeve too, which is kind of cool. You got.
Oh, that's sick.
That's cool.
For me, I was introduced to this band a while ago by a good friend of mine, who we both kind of shared a musical love for. Not sure how he stumbled onto it, but once I heard it, it just hooked me. I think the first song I heard was In the Flat Field, a live version. I'm like, what's going on? They toured with 9 Inch Nails and TV on the Radio back in 2006, and they were all 3 on a tour together. So going to that show would have been amazing. And there's some live YouTube videos of those 3 bands doing like some like private sessions as a group in front of fans, like maybe 30 people, and they do like Bauhaus songs, TV on the Radio songs, 9 Inch Nails songs together, or Peter Murphy singing, or TV on the Radio, or Trent, and they're all on stage together. If you have a chance, check that out on YouTube. Really cool. They are the godfathers of goth rock. A lot of people consider them to be that. This record is considered like one of the first staples of that era. And if you listen to it, it is very dark. It's very demented and very loud and in your face. Some songs are more accessible, some are slow, some are fast. It's just in your face for 1980. You know, it was different than a lot of the things before that era. You were kind of getting to the electro. You know, you got Depeche Mode, you got different bands like that coming out. You got the Adamant sounds like that. So they kind of set themselves apart. There was, praise for this album. There was disdain for this album. A lot of negative reviews because they made it sound like a hit Black Sabbath, which is kind of a stupid reference.
Yeah.
I thought that they just kind of set the bar for like a new sound in general, you know, kind of having those weird guitar sounds. When you look at the lead singer, Peter Murphy, he has that like Iggy Pop, David Bowie vibe. And I've seen him live twice, and he definitely represents that to a T. So I've got some more to say about it, but what do you guys think?
To kind of touch on what you were just saying about like them being the godfathers of goth rock, you know, there's like the goth movement and goth culture has like so many different like subgenres attached to it, you know, like you mentioned, you know, you've got like Depeche Mode with and like The Cure with more electronic kind of feels to it, and then on the opposite side of the spectrum, you know, you have goth metal with bands like Typo Negative, you know, really representing that part of the culture. And so, and I heard of Bauhaus. I had never listened. I had never listened to them, but I recognized the name because I had heard people talk about it, and you know, say like, and it was usually like Depeche Mode and Cure fans being like, "Oh, I really like Bauhaus." And so when you brought it up, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna sound like that." God no.
No.
So much fucking better, dude. Like I was sitting there and I was like, this is like, and like you can kick me in the dick next time you see me if this pisses you off, but it has like such like surf rock kind of influence, like with like the
guitar.
like the guitar, and then like early, it's like it kind of some of like the drum beats and everything really reminded me of like either early punk or like Fugazi, you know, kind of like just like the drum patterns and everything. I was like, dude, what in the hell? And then his voice is just killer over all of that. You know, you just get like the tom drum beats kicking in, and then like the bass lines are just chugging. And I was like, shit, I kind of want to hear like Fugazi do like a cover album of just this whole album. That would be fucking killer. But like, but no, dude, this was phenomenal. And it kind of like, because I had heard, you know, the two opposite sides of that spectrum, and this is like very much in the middle because it has the aspects of kind of both, you know. So I'm very glad that you brought this up. This album fucking rules, dude.
Glad you liked it.
Damn. Both of you just fucking killed it. I don't know how to follow up with that. No.
What'd you like about it? Like,
I'm right there with you guys. Like it
just was like.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Like I hadn't heard anything like this, and I feel like still like for something that came out like that long ago in 1980s, like it's still I haven't listened to anything that sounds like this. Like I don't dive into that much rock music, especially like goth, I guess, or whatever, goth rock. But I could see how this like pioneered that movement and was like massive. It's insane. Like when I was listening to it, I really liked it. A lot of these songs, specifically Dark Entries, the first track, the fact that that's the first track, holy fuck. It's insane. It's so catchy. It's a staple, I feel like, in their discography. It's crazy that even throughout the rest of the album, like A God in Alcove, that bass just sounds villainous. Like it just sounds so dark and like scary, but it's so good.
It is dark. You're right, man. It has that dark gloom vibe right away.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about it, but it sounds amazing. Like it sounds really fucking wicked. Same thing with Terror Couple, Kill Colonel. I fucking love that song. It's so catchy. It kind of sounds like indie in a way, but I don't even think that existed at that time. Like it's crazy how it kind of has like I could see how it pioneered a lot of stuff and it like influenced a lot of people. So yeah, I had heard of these guys, but never actually heard their music. And goddamn, dude, I was missing out.
Like you're saying, the instrumentation from all the musicians, whether it's the bass player or the guitar player, I mean, they all just have their own vibe. And Daniel Ash is the guitar player, and he has kind of a Mick Ronson, David Bowie vibe with how he plays. Very eclectic. It reminded me of Larry Ledon from Primus, where he's going on the off notes and playing off chords, and it sounds good. I mean, it's the same thing. He's just doing his own thing. And seeing him live on stage, when he came out, when I saw him this year, he came out in like this silver metal leather jacket, and he's just looking like a rock star with these glasses, and he's just shredding. And to be, you know, he's not super old, but to be that old and still get on stage and rock it like that, you're just like, damn. He controlled the stage, and watching them live was a treat. because they play just like they sound. It's fast, it's furious, it's in your face. You know, when we were at the concert, we're all sitting down, and Peter Murphy comes on stage. He's like, "You guys, you get to stand the fuck up. We're gonna play," and everybody just rises, and he starts the show.
Yeah, that's fucking dope.
And for people to be so respected and be like, "All right, Peter Murphy's talking to us. Let's stand up." You know,
let's go ahead. All right.
Yeah.
Get off.
It just shows how much of an influence that band had on the masses and how it created subgenres and, you know, precedent for that sound needed to be in order to be accessible. And I was a fan, you know, early on, and I'm glad I was introduced to them.
Yeah. No, I hadn't heard of these guys, but I'm glad you brought them up. And it's cool that, like, even on that I was looking at their main page, they have a lot more songs that were also really big. And this was only their first album, dude. Like, holy fuck.
Their first song that they did in the studio was a song called, and this is a song that when I was in a band years ago, we covered, called Bela Lugosi's Dead. Very simple song. If you guys have the chance, check that out.
That's a great name for a song.
Oh, it's an epic song. It's like 9 minutes. It's ridiculous. It's
Let's
great.
go.
Yeah.
Dope ass name, and it's Tool length.
Once you hear that song, you're like, yeah, these guys are goth. This is what it is. And it's such a simple song. That's why we covered it. And it's fun to sing, and it's got great simple lyrics, and it's very dark and fun. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up.
Heck yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it a little bit.
Hell yeah.
I really liked the bass line on A God in an Alcove. Like, it's fucking insane. Fucking insane, dude. It's subtle, but it's there. Like, you hear it, you always hear it in the background. Stigmata, Martyr.
Another great bass line. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
another great bass. And it sounds a lot more metal. I don't know if that's just me.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds really fucking cool and really badass. This whole album, man, it's fucking crazy. It has that very dark feel to it, especially the album cover. It's just black and white, and it feels very, very gothic. Very
Good pose.
yeah.
That was good.
The pose, yeah, that nailed it. You just take your shirt off, Dorian, please. Just take,
That's
yeah.
all. That's all.
Just do the Buffalo Bill and tuck it with my
Yeah.
butt ass naked.
I'd fuck me. Yeah.
I'd fuck me. God
Is she a
damn it.
great big fat person? Yeah.
Shit, I gotta watch that movie again. Where did you manage to score this?
I had to special order it. I contacted I went to House of Records and asked him about it and talked to the owner, Greg, and he's like, "It's on back order, but I'll see what I can do." And I'm like, "Okay, that means no, I guess." And then a month later, he calls me. He's like, "Oh, I got it, $25." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Cool."
Dude.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is one that I'm kind of that I'm actually pretty interested in getting, because it's just, you can tell, like you guys had said, you know, you can tell that it's just such a staple for a whole era of music, and it spawned like a whole subgenre, and you know, really gave a lot of bands kind of like a foundation to build off from and go into, you know. So
there's a very few vocalists that I like put on my top list, whether it's Jeff Buckley or, you know, other artists like that. But Peter Murphy's voice, for me, like when I hear it and he hits those high notes, like it just does something to me where I have a huge respect for him and what he's done and how he carries himself, and just gives it all out there. You know, it's very unique. And he wasn't really a lead man when this band formed. He wasn't into being a singer. He's kind of shy. And then you look at him now, and he's like, he commands the stage, and it's fun to see. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
If you guys ever have the chance, there's a live concert called Gotham, like Batman Gotham, where it's on YouTube, I think, and you watch that and you're like, God damn.
yeah.
Are good at what they do. And
I think part of, like, because I agree with you on his vocal style is very fucking cool. And I think what it's when he's singing, it's almost like commanding, you know, like it's very like, like, and it's like, where are they from Britain or?
Yep.
Okay, because I was about to say he's got like some type of accent that bleeds through, but whenever he's singing, the way he's delivering it, it sounds like a command almost. Like he's just fucking it. He's just like, you know what? I'm gonna deliver the hell out of this song, and it just sounds like commanding a march or something. I don't know. Weird analogy, but I can't figure out
analogy. I'll
like, how to
piggyback.
pinpoint.
Solid.
I'll piggyback off that because before I saw Bauhaus as a band, I saw Peter Murphy live maybe 7-8 years ago up in Portland, and he started the show off. And at one point, when the first couple songs, he couldn't hear himself, and so he was bitching about it, and he basically walked off the stage and said "fuck you" to everybody. And so we're all sitting there like, what? And so people are booing and yelling, and 15 minutes later he comes back on, apologizes, and then goes into a cover of Hurt by Nine Inch Nails and just destroys it, and then does a great show after that. But at first I was like, are we going to leave now? What the hell's going on? But I think he's so specific and particular about how his vocal sounds. If he can't hear himself, he doesn't want to be on stage. He wants to make sure it sounds good. So after the show, I kind of respected that. At the time I didn't.
That's dope. That's true craftsmanship.
Top three. We'll go with honorable mention, Dark Entries from the album. The way it starts off, it's just a great banger. Number 3, In the Flat Field. Number 2, A God in an Alcove. And then number 1 is Stigmata, Martyr. I just love that bass line and the lyrics.
Yeah. I'll go next. Honorable mention for me was In the Flat Field. That almost made my top 3. I just love that. And then number 3 was Dive. I really liked that guitar intro on it. That intro riff was nice. Number 2 was Stigmata, Martyr. And then number 1 was Dark Entries, because that album, or that song to start off the album, I just thought was too good. I was like, God damn, all right, we're in for it.
Yeah, that's a fucking killer intro to an album. Like there's some songs that'll just catch your attention like instantly, and that's one of them. It's fucking insane. That's in my top 3 for sure. I wanted to bring this up to St. Vitus Dance. That's also a really good song, really cool song. But if I'm going top 3, definitely Dark Entries, A God in an Alcove, and then my favorite is probably Terror Couple, Kill Carno. I don't know, it's so catchy. It's so catchy. And they made like a second song of it, but it just sounds like it's slowed down more. It's just titled Version. I don't know if that's like I don't know if that's just like a deluxe version or if it's just a slowed down or whatever. But yeah, that's my favorite song because it's so catchy and it feels indie. I don't know why it sounds like an indie track too. It's weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
But this album is fucking fantastic.
Nice.
Great to peak. Great pick. Let's introduce the Outkast picks, but should we tell the people what we're doing for episode 40 at the same time?
Let's do it.
40?
Was it 50 or
episode 40?
40.
The next Artist Day.
We can wait on that.
Yeah, we'll wait about 5 episodes.
Okay.
But anyways, that was In the Flat Field by Bauhaus, which was Matt's pick for this week. Let's go ahead and tell the people what we're bringing up next week for Outkast Day. I do not own this album yet. Probably will within the next couple of days. But my Outkast pick for episode 30 is going to be Stankonia. One of probably my favorite album by them. I've been listening to it for a long ass time. I am very excited to talk about it. But Jacob, what about you?
Yeah, dude, I'm so torn because I really wanted to play or pick a Southern Playlist of Cadillac Music. I fucking love that album. In fact, that's their debut album. Insane.
They've got so many other people on that album too.
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to do Speaker Box.
Yeah, that album too, dude. A lot of their albums so fucking good. But if we're talking about Outkast, we have to talk about ATLiens. So that's my pick. I don't own it. It's one of those albums that I'm like, oh, this is too expensive. It'll go down. Never goes down. It's really expensive.
Just make like a deluxe version of it, yeah.
Yeah, they'll just make a deluxe version and charge you an extra $100 for it. But yeah, ATLiens, Outkast.
Nice. I'm gonna go with You and I. It's Aquemini for my pick. I mean, we're gonna tell all about it when we do this, but all the tracks on all the albums we picked are great. Outkast is hip hop and one of the greatest hip hop duos of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm so stoked to get to talk about some Outkast. But this has been episode 29 of Whatchu Spinnin. Next week is episode 30. We will catch y'all later.